July 20th Parker Town Council meeting at 7:03 p.m. All council members are present. Councilwoman Renee Williams is remote in Arizona and is on the Zoom meeting. If everyone would please join me in honoring our nation with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Now, before we get going, just a couple quick announcements and updates for those of you watching at home. This is only our second time doing our hybrid meetings with most of council here and with Councilwoman at home and our citizens not able to participate in person. So first and foremost, please be patient. There will probably be little glitches here and there, and we'll work through them as we can. If you are watching on Facebook Live, the Facebook live stream, thank you for watching. But please keep in mind that the Facebook live stream is not the place for public comment. If you were wanting to give general public comment on items not on our agenda, if you go to our website, there's a link, and you can submit those by 5 p.m. the day of our council meeting, and they get distributed to all of council. If you are wanting to give public comment on an item that is on our agenda, public comment is handled through the Zoom meeting. So we're actually being broadcast in two places, Facebook Live and Zoom. Tom, is there a link on our Facebook Live to the Zoom meeting? He's giving me a thumbs up in the back. So if you're watching this on Facebook Live and you want to give public comment, you can switch over to the Zoom meeting and take care of it there. Any comment put in Facebook is not being given to us for public comment. So just wanted to go over those little details. Now, council, you've already been given the public comment, the general public comment that was sent in today, so everyone should have that. Reports, items, and comments from mayor and council. Mr. Rivero, do you have anything? Yep, make sure your mic's on.
Thank you. I do, Mr. Mayor. A few things this week. Starting Wednesday, we had partnership with Douglas County Governments, outstanding organization that meets bi-monthly, and we chat about everything and anything that is Douglas County that pertains to the different municipalities, the different enterprises, the different organizations. The key speaker this week was Dr. Douglas from Tri-County Health, and very informative discussion and just a great presentation with a lot of facts from Dr. Douglas and how COVID is affecting our county. So just a great meeting. Second, Thursday was Cherry Creek Basin Water Quality Authority. As many of you probably know, there was an algae bloom. We are in the process of, the Basin Authority is in the process of installing a new, now I'm drawing a blank, compressor. A huge thing that is going to put even more air into the aerating system that is in the Cherry Creek to further battle algae blooms. I know it's been challenging the last few years, but we are going to be able to put even more consistent air without the compressor overheating, and that should be up and running actually by Wednesday this week. So very, very excited about that. We'll not have any more algae interruptions, hopefully. No guarantee.
Knock on wood, dude.
Have any more algae interruptions at Cherry Creek. And then lastly, Sunday, I participated in the Back to Blue rally with Councilman Toborg at Coffee Cabin.
Okay. Cheryl.
No, I didn't have anything this week. Mine are all next week.
Okay. Jeff.
So I have two things just to note. We had our Parks and Recreation Liaison meeting last week. The pool is open and in full swing. We've got 250 young people and old people enjoying it, and they are social distancing. They are taking care of the disinfecting, and sessions begin at 10 and go to 1 and are open from 2 to 5. We had a motor that was replaced, but thank God we had a hot week last week, so I think the temp got down to about 86. Just some other notes in the Auburn Hills renovation project. That looks like that will be completed around the September-October timeframe. And then in our field house and in our recreation departments, we have silver sneakers back in line, so people are getting back in exercising, and I think the capacity is now 175. This week will be the first week where no reservations are needed. You'll call to see if if they're at capacity. But again, that's 175. And I understand day camps too are in full swing back on a limited basis, but they're back with full swing with the Recreation Department. Also, Mary Colton wanted me to note that the Reuter-Hess Recreation Authority, our paddle days were up and running. We have a total of 14 sessions, each accommodating 50 people out on the water, so be sure to call Parks and Rec to get out there on the water. And lastly, I did get a chance to attend the Support Law Enforcement Rally at the Coffee Cabin on Monday, and I have to say what an amazing group of patriots were out there. We heard from everyone from Kim Ransom to Casper Stackham, Randy Corcoran, on and on. But, I have to say that West Crespi can bring this community out like nobody's business, and I really appreciate what he's doing for our law enforcement. That's it for me.
Renee, you're up. So go ahead and unmute yourself, and if you've got any updates, go ahead and give them.
Yeah, I think since our last meeting, had my one-on-one with the town administrator and also liaison meetings with both finance and P3. And then work continues with the Douglas County High Needs Work Group. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Debbie.
I don't have anything.
Okay. John.
Thank you, Mayor. I also had the Finance Liaison Committee with Councilmember Williams. This week was Dr. Cog Week. I think everybody gets excited when I mention that acronym, Dr. Cog. Denver Regional Council of Governments, also Regional Transportation Committee meeting. The hot topic of the agenda was the discussion of the project solicitation and evaluation process for the 2050 Metro Vision Regional Transportation Plan. That's important.
Half the room just fell asleep.
Now, hold on.
One,
I'm getting somewhere. That's important because once you have established the criteria, we will have 10 submittals, Douglas County will, to get on the plan. If you get on the plan, you could potentially get regional transportation money.
Go.
Yes. So that's important. Our Douglas County subregion will be meeting, talking about these things. The heavy lift is staff driven. Chris Hudson is out there in the audience, our capital improvement plan manager, director. I don't really know your full
Guru.
title, but he's the guy for Parker.
Headmaster.
Okay. Let's go with that. But anyway, it's Mr. Hudson's, I guess, not responsibility, but charge to see if we can get a few projects on there so we can ultimately get more bonus money, regional money. So that is all.
All right.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, I checked earlier, this microphone is a reject. I just want to make sure, this has been passed around, it's the one on the end. I just want to make sure that I had a citizen chime in, that they couldn't hear me. I'm wondering if it's any better now if I speak directly into it.
I muted you.
Oh, there you go.
No, I'm just kidding. I did not mute him.
So specifically,
Tom,
Miss-
is it going through good?
Ms. Hefta,
Yeah.
is she?
Yeah. It actually, you sound louder now.
Oh, thank you. Okay, she got it. Yep. Yep.
All right. Sweet chicken. All right, so
Thank
let's
you,
go ahead and
Laura.
move on to the next item. Our next item up is item 4, is our consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine, will be enacted with one motion and one vote, unless a council member asks to have something reviewed or removed for further discussion. Ordinances on the consent agenda are for introduction only and will not be removed for discussion. So council, in front of you, you have consent agenda items 4A through 4C.
I move to approve consent agenda items 4A through 4C, please.
Second.
We have a motion from Josh and we have a second from Debbie. Council, in just a few seconds, your vote box will appear magically on your screen and you will click your choice. I don't have that magic screen, so I'm going to look for our big screen up above to change. I'll look at that. There you go. And motion passes unanimously. Oh, let's see, 5-0. Are we missing someone?
Didn't get a vote.
We're missing Renee.
Yes.
Oh, wait, no, Renee was on there,
Says
but you were a
yes.
yes?
I'm a yes.
Okay, so we're going to revise that. So see, anyone who says I wasn't paying attention, I quickly noticed 5-0. That just doesn't work. Motion passes unanimously with Jeff Toborg voting yes, even though he's not showing on the screen there. So, all right. Next up, our town administrator's report. Michelle, do you have anything to add to what's online?
No, I do not.
All right. For those of you at home, if you're looking for excitement, drama, cool things to do on a Saturday night, go to parkeronline.org and check out the Town Administrator's Report. Bonus points if you read every line of it, and email me about each and every item. So please do that. Michelle takes a lot of time to put that together, and it's great information on the town about what's going on in the future and what's going on right now. Next up, item number 6, public hearings. We have Old Town at Parker, rezone sketch and preliminary plan. Council, it does appear that I will need a motion to have for item number 6 to be continued to a date certain of August 3rd, 2020.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion from Cheryl and a second from Debbie. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Look, Jeff, you ended up on that one. That's just magic. Magic. All right, next item up is item number 7.
Excuse me, Mayor. Mayor, there's actually 4 separate motions associated with this.
We can't, can we do one for continuance, or they have to do 4 continuances?
Well, so there's 2 items, and on each item, there's 2 separate motions. So for the rezoning, there's 2 motions. One to continue the rezoning hearing to a date certain of August 3rd, 2020. Then there's a second motion to remand to the Planning Commission, which is rather lengthy.
I apologize, because on mine I just have the one, just the continuation. So our crack legal team has just stopped things up for you guys to make a motion on remanding it back down to Planning Commission.
So do we need to say the entire motion?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. And I guess by me speaking, that's probably...
That's you. You just got voluntold.
Got the mic, huh? All right. I move that the Planning Commission recommendation concerning ordinance number 3.162.3 be remanded to allow the Planning Commission to reopen the public hearing that was held on June 25th, 2020, for the purpose of obtaining more information from those members of the public that were not able to participate in the public hearing because they incorrectly accessed the public hearing through the Facebook Live link instead of the Zoom webinar link that was provided on the town's website and described in the Planning Commission meeting agenda that was properly posted for public hearing, to clarify or supplement the recommendation that was made by the Planning Commission concerning ordinance number 3.162.3 at the next available Planning Commission meeting, which is July 23rd, 2020.
Second.
All right, so that was a lengthy motion from John Dyack and a second from Josh Rivero. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. And so you said there's, because on mine I only had one on my sheet, so there's more?
So there's 2 more motions to go with the sketch and preliminary plan.
I move to continue the Old Town at Parker F2 sketch and preliminary plans to August 3rd, 2020.
Second.
Motion by Josh and a second by Debbie. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. And the last item?
I move that the Planning Commission recommendation concerning the Old Town at Parker F2 sketch and preliminary plan be remanded to allow the Planning Commission to reopen public hearing that was held on June 25th, 2020, for the purpose of obtaining more information for those members of the public that were not able to participate in the public hearing because they incorrectly accessed the public hearing through Facebook Live link instead of the Zoom webinar link that was provided on the town's website and described in the Planning Commission meeting agenda that was properly posted for the public hearing, to help clarify or supplement the recommendation that was made by Planning Commission concerning the Old Town at Parker F2 sketch and preliminary plans at the next available Planning Commission meeting, which is July 23rd, 2020.
Second.
Motion by Josh and a second by John. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Jim, we copacetic?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, so now we're going to move to item number 7, which is resolutions. First item there is a resolution, and only item there is resolution number 20-033. This is a resolution to opt out of the Tri-County Health Department order to require mandatory mask wearing for all residents of Douglas County, Colorado. So before we move forward, I'm just going to give a little bit of background for those of you watching at home, because there is a lot of confusion, a lot of things that have happened over the last week, and I just want to clarify for everyone watching at home what's brought us to this point, and then council's going to take an opportunity individually to give their input before we go on to public comment. Obviously, we're in an interesting time right now with emergency health orders in place, and the hot topic right now is mask wearing. So what has brought us to this point is that several weeks ago, Tri-County Health, which is the health organization that Douglas County is in, and Parker is obviously in Douglas County, their head of Tri-County Health, Dr. Douglas, he's their head. I always screw up the word epidemiologist, and he's also the guy who runs, he's the head medical professional, the one who runs Tri-County Health. He made recommendations to his board in regards to a mask mandate for the counties of which Tri-County makes up, Arapahoe, Adams, and Douglas. The head medical professional recommended in his presentation to his board that Douglas County not be in a mask mandate. So I want to underscore this, because one of the things that is kind of going around a lot is we're getting a lot of email, a lot of messages saying, hey, why don't you guys need to follow what the medical professionals are telling you? The head medical professional for Tri-County Health recommended that Douglas County not be in a mask mandate. His recommendation to his board was not followed, and a board member made a motion to include Douglas County against the advice of the head medical professional of Tri-County Health. That is what put in place the Tri-County mask mandate, which they approved. Now, that mandate is a 90-day mandate that requires mask wearing inside and outside, but gives municipalities and counties within Tri-County the opportunity to opt out. Douglas County government utilized that opportunity and opted out of a mask mandate. In front of your council tonight is that opportunity as well. Now, since that happened, there's a little bit of a monkey wrench that got thrown into the whole thing last Thursday when the governor of Colorado issued a mask mandate by executive order for the entire state of Colorado. His mandate is a 30-day mandate and only applies to indoor mask wearing. Now, I just want to clarify how the order of things work. The governor's order, which affects the entire state, is the primary order in the state of Colorado. Any agency, any government agency underneath that is subordinate to the state, which is all of us, cannot have a mandate or pass a law that is less restrictive than what the state offers. However, there is the option to have something more restrictive if they choose. The Tri-County mandate is more restrictive than the state mandate. So I want to be really clear on something, because vernacular terminology can sometimes get confusing. Opting out, if council tonight so chooses to opt out of Tri-County Health's mandate, it does not mean that people in Parker do not have to wear masks anywhere. You are still under the state's mask mandate, which basically says that if you're indoors in a public space and you're older than 10 years old, so you're 11 or older, you have to wear a covering over your nose and mouth, except under certain conditions, like in your house, you don't have to wear a mask. If you're in a hotel room, you don't have to wear a mask. If you're addressing the public, kind of like I'm doing right now, indoors, you don't have to wear a mask. Okay? So I just want to clarify that that's what's kind of led us here today. Now, from a discussion standpoint, we're going to go council member by council member, give them the opportunity to address the citizens, and then we're going to have public comment on it. So I'm going to start with Mr. Dyack.
Wow. Yeah, as Mayor Wade indicated, things change very rapidly, and our discussion Monday was with the latest and greatest information. However, things changed. So the question that we were discussing Monday was, should we opt out and not have a mask policy, or should we stay in and have a mask policy? With this new information, that point is moot. We are going to be under a mask policy. The question of the evening is, should we have the Tri-County policy and stay in, or do we opt out of Tri-County and yet opt into the state order? So there was a resolution drafted by staff to articulate our points with the information that we had on Monday, and it was included in the packet. With this new updated information, I reached out to our staff and said, could we update the resolution to articulate what is current and the reasoning of why are we opting out? So with that, I would like to, I guess, say to the public that we did revise the resolution that was in the packet that you can see online, and I would like to turn to Ms. Hoffman to articulate what the updates or differences are. Ms. Hoffman?
Thank you, Council Member. So the first change is in the second whereas clause. The defined term of the order is referring to the public health order issued by Trowell County Health Department. Have made a change so that the defined term is now the TCHD order, and that is because after the fourth whereas clause, I've added in a whereas clause that references the governor's executive order, and it says, whereas the governor of the state of Colorado did issue executive order D 2020-138, parentheses, the, quote, executive order, end quote, in parentheses, on July 16, 2020, ordering individuals in Colorado to wear non-medical face coverings. And then I have revised the fifth whereas clause. It's been replaced in its entirety to say, whereas, for the reasons that, number one, the executive order and the TCHD order differ and result in non-uniformity across jurisdictions within the state of Colorado with respect to the requirement to wear face coverings. Two, the town council desires to reduce confusion among its residents concerning compliance with the TCHD order and the executive order. And three, opting out of the TCHD order will result in Parker residents being subject to the same requirements as other Colorado residents. And then, in addition to those changes, in Section 3, I've added at the end, I'll read the entire provision. It says, nothing herein preempts the town of Parker business or other entity from requiring the use of masks within its establishment. Opting out of the TCH order shall not preempt any state public health orders requiring or encouraging the use of masks or face coverings. And this is the additional language, including but not limited to the executive order.
Thank you very much. So we've added the new governor order, and we've added the reasons to opt out of Tri-County, which ultimately is a opt-in to the state order. And to me, it's hearing the various leaders throughout Colorado. There was a call to have a more cohesive or a less of a patchwork of orders, of laws out there, and with the state having the order, to me it makes sense to roll up to the state and for us to be under that, because it goes state, it goes regional, and it goes tri-county and local. I think the state, because they hold the emergency order and they can issue things like this, it just makes sense to opt out of Tri-County and opt into to the state by opting out of Tri-County. And again, this probably sounds like an Abbott and Costello routine to some people out there. I don't know who's on third base, but we're trying to do the best we can with the information that's changing, and we're trying to get it out to the public. So, that's, I think, all I have at this moment, and I'm sure the other fellow council members can fill in the blanks as we go down the line. Thank you, Mayor.
For sure. And one thing to just clarify again for those watching at home, there is no option for the citizens of Parker to have no mandate at this time, because the state mandate will always take precedence over everything else that can be done. So I just want to be clear that, again, from the vernacular of it, an opt-out doesn't mean that there is no mandate in Parker. Debbie?
And as far as opting in to what the governor has issued, it's really not an opt-in. It is law to us. So that's all I got to say.
Okay. Renee, you're up from home. So you cannot, there you go.
So we're being mandated by the state for the masks, and Tri-County or Douglas County, Tri-County is a separate issue. I believe that we have no choice with what the state says, and we can always come back and revisit the Tri-County orders if we need to at a future date. So there is no reason at this point in time for us to opt in, so we should opt out of Tri-County. Thanks.
Okay. Jeff?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to echo the mayor's clarification. I nor anyone on this council is opting in or voting to opt into the governor's orders. That is his ruling, and we're subject to it. But I would not opt into Governor Polis's order on this. But second, I want to go back to early March and remind all of us the fact that, when the quarantine happened, when the COVID outbreak started, that the call was to stay at home. Let's flatten the curve, and let's not overwhelm the hospitals. That was what got us back to normal, was when we stopped doing that. I pulled off from Tri-County just this morning. All the data from the medical community, from the science community, is showing us that we have flattened that curve. In Colorado, we have not overwhelmed our hospital systems. The mayor has reported numerous times that we could put everyone who has COVID into the PACE Center, and we would still not be at half capacity of the PACE Center. So my point is, and I think if you've listened to the study session from last week, everyone in the council made the comment that if it got worse, we would go back as Parker, we would go back and we would revisit this to see if there was validity to such a mandate. But at this time, the data, the science, everything that we're hearing tells us that, Douglas County is doing pretty good. John Dyack had a really good point in our study session last week with the mask wearing. The governor has always talked about 80% compliance rate. Today, what Douglas County is reporting, what Tri-County Health reporting is that we are now at, and I lost
It's
it
at
here.
80%.
Is it 80%? So in Douglas County, in the Tri-County, we are a healthy community. I understand the argument completely that we're not in a bubble. People travel from Douglas to Arapahoe to Adams and back. I get the argument, but there has to be a bigger issue in order for me to request that my neighbors, my community, and my businesses put on a mask every day when the data doesn't support that. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Cheryl?
Yeah, this is really a confusing issue. You can read all the scientific studies you can understand, and you're going to get 50% says one thing, 50% will say something else. And so I think we're seeing that in the community. When I look at the amount of emails I've gotten, it's 50, put us in, 50, pull us out. So I think the bottom line is looking at the data that we have to look at. And frankly, in Douglas County, I do not believe that we have to be forced to wear a mask out on the trails, forced to wear a mask when we're out walking outside. I get wearing a mask while you're inside, which is what the governor is recommending. So at this point, I'm for opting out of Tri-County and opting in, basically, we have no choice, but basically opting into the state.
Right. Josh? You're on. I can hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Hoffman, if I could, just a couple of questions. Did we specifically, as the town of Parker, reach out to Tri-County to see if they would rescind since the governor's order came into play?
We did. We were very concerned about the confusion that this would cause when the headline is Town of Parker opts out of the Tri-County Health Order, knowing that there's two separate things. They're both called orders and not maybe understanding the precedents. And we did reach out to staff at Tri-County Health Department. They are not going to be rescinding their order. It's my understanding they are maybe amending their order later this week to come more in line with the governor's order with several exceptions. The Tri-County Health order is 90 days. The governor's order currently is 30 days. And I believe there was a few other provisions.
Age wasn't one.
Age is one.
Yeah,
where there's
Tri-County says the masks are mandated on younger.
Younger, and they do apply also outdoors. But we did ask that. We are concerned about that. Tri-County's aware of the confusion, and I think they're going to work on some messaging, but we also internally will be working on that messaging to make sure our residents understand that opting out of the Tri-County Health order does not opt us out of the governor's order, and there is still a face covering requirement for public indoor spaces in the town of Parker.
Thank you very much. I think that's the case in point for me. As a policymaker or as a judge that sits up here and rules on said policy, in my opinion, Tri-County's, in my personal opinion, not the council's opinion, but my personal opinion, Tri-County's policy was bad policy. I did not agree with it. I did not agree where it put our citizens, and most importantly, I did not agree where it put our businesses. It is a policy written by a health department, and I understand, no shirts, no service. Trust me, I read every single one of your emails, folks. I truly appreciate the testimony. But what we do have now in front of us is a mandate, or exactly an executive order from the highest elected official in this state that we must abide by. And I find that sufficient. I am pro-mask. I do believe that masks can help us, and I will wear one at every possible chance. But I do not agree with the policy that was inside of the Tri-County, and that's the reason that I would vote to opt out.
Okay, thank you guys very much. Before we go to public comment, I failed to mention two things because I wanted to have, I think Jeff had mentioned science. I want you guys to have data and a comparison of what's going on. Douglas County has 350,000 citizens, just over 350,000 citizens in Douglas County. I'm going to pick up my laptop here for those of you who are on Zoom. Oh, you know what, I got to turn off. Well, I can't turn off. I'm going to take too long to turn off. I look around this room right now that we're sitting in, the dais here, the council chambers for the town of Parker. We have 7 of us sitting up here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 staff members who are actively working with us, and then we have a couple other staff, and we have Tom in the back room. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 people sitting here in this room. In all of Douglas County, 350,000 plus people, all of the people currently hospitalized with COVID are less than the people sitting in this room right now. There are 12 people in all of Douglas County hospitalized with COVID right now. And I say that just as a reference point. I'm not giving opinion. It's your job, council, to determine your opinion based on that number. As another fact, because we hear through media and everything else, terms like surge and spikes and things like this. And Jeff was absolutely right that the whole purpose of all of these issues with us locking down was to flatten the curve, to not put undue, stress on the medical system, and to prevent death, ultimately. Happy to say that in the entire state of Colorado, 5.7 million people, there has not been a COVID-19 death in 4 days. Okay, so that was the daily report that came off, and it's something just as, again, a comparison point. And Jeff, I'm going to clarify a little more from today's statistics. If all of the people in the state of Colorado who currently are hospitalized with COVID were at the PACE Center, it would be right at about half, not under. It was under half a couple days ago, but right now it's about at half. We actually had 4 less from yesterday to today, but about half the capacity. So it's still, again, you guys make your judgment calls. 5.7 million people. I think it's like 240 or some hospitalized with confirmed COVID. So that being said, we're going to now move to the public comment portion of today. I got to give a few more rules, and it's not because I like to talk, but it's just we want to manage this well. Public comment, you'll state your name and address for the record. There is a 3-minute time limit. Those of you on the Zoom meeting who would like to give public comment, please use the raise your hand feature. If you've called in, I believe that is *6 if I'm not mistaken. I do know we have a raise hand on one listed here as Parker citizen. You will need to state your name and address for the record, please, when it's your time to talk. After you've stated your name and address and you start your public comment, I will start the timer here. When it gets to 2.5 minutes, I'm going to say you've got 30 seconds left. So just please be aware of that. And then at 3 minutes, we're going to cut you off and move on to the next one. So the order of, and Danette, I know you're keeping track of it, but I believe the order of who's raised their hands was Brandi first, Parker Citizen second, Shaun Sindelman third, and Laura Hefta fourth. So with that, I'm going to open public comment at 7:38 p.m. Brandi is up first. So Brandi, you will get unmuted here in just a sec, and you will state your name and address for the record, and then start going.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes. So state your name and address, please.
Yeah, my name's Brandi Wilkes, and my address is 17402 East Newtown Parkway, Parker, Colorado, 80134.
Thank you. Go for it.
All right, so I actually understand where both of you, I get that we're a council divided here. I just have a little bit of different insight. My sister is a nurse at Rose Medical, and my cousin is actually Parker PD. My sister being a nurse at Rose Medical, I actually didn't get to see her for 4 months because my oldest son is immunocompromised and I myself am high risk, and it was just too great of a risk. My cousin, who's on Parker PD, actually was of the mindset that masks don't matter and it's going to be fine because the curve is flattening. He ended up getting coronavirus and he's still on oxygen a month and a half later and is still not fully to himself. So where I'm at is, if wearing a mask means that I'm protecting you and you're protecting me, and I can live my life the exact way I wanted to live it before the coronavirus, just with a mask on my face, and my kids can go back to school, and I know that my oldest son is not going to end up sick or hospitalized because of this, then to me, it's not even a question. Even if the governor isn't ordering it, I have no problem asking my friends to wear masks, asking my kids' friends to wear masks, talking to their parents and just letting them know, like, hey, my son's immunocompromised. Is there any way to make sure that we can wear a mask? And every single one of them is like, yeah, absolutely. Because then they can still go to the mall. They can still go hang outside. They can still ride their skateboards and jump on the trampoline and still live life the exact way they want to live it, just with a mask on their face. And to me, it doesn't change any of what we're able to do, what we're able to accomplish, how we're able to live. And to me, I only watch the CDC. I do not look at news media outlets because all of that I can't trust. And, the CDC today shows that there's 67,000 new cases in the U.S. just in the last 24 hours. And that seems to be growing every 24 hours. And I get that Douglas County is not that bad, but I think that's because a lot of us, we just wear the mask anyways. And I'm not opposed to telling people, I've said it before in Walmart. I'm like, hey, could you put a mask on or not stand directly in front of me? And, my biggest thing, me and my husband, is just keep your germs to yourself. If you wear a mask, you're keeping your germs to yourself, and life can just continue and be great. So for what it's worth, I don't know how that works on which way you're voting, but with or without governor orders, I think we all should be wearing a mask. It doesn't change how we get to live. It just protects people like me and my son.
30 seconds left.
So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Brandi. All right. Next up, we have Parker Citizen. Parker Citizen, if you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, this is Brian Reed, 5618 Saddle Creek Trail in Parker. I have definite opinions about wearing a mask. I'm 62 years old. Love living in Parker, and love going out to all the different events. And it's really been tough not being able to go out to all the festivals and all the great things going on. But, what really kills me is seeing what's happening to all the businesses around Parker. And I really want to see the businesses to be able to come back and first of all, survive, and then secondly, thrive. And myself and a number of people I know, if you go out and you walk down Main Street in Parker and there's a lot of people walking around without a mask, are we going to go back there? No, absolutely not. Regardless of what mandates are out there or not. So to me, from a business standpoint in the city of Parker, the businesses should want people to wear masks because that's going to encourage everyone to get out. I don't see what the big deal is about wearing a mask. Yeah, do I like wearing a mask? Heck no, I don't. But at the same time, it protects myself. And also, more than anything, I feel like I'm protecting other people. And if it's going to, if greater awareness around the benefits of wearing a mask, not to yourself, but to all people, are out there, more people are going to go out and support the businesses in Parker and other places. And that's going to be good for everyone. So I really just don't understand the big debate and the big issue around not wearing a mask in Parker. I know I've seen when I've been out and I go to places. We went to a restaurant in downtown. We're going to go to a restaurant in downtown Parker. We saw all the people down there not wearing a mask. And not that I want to enjoy myself. But at the same time, I see all the people not wearing a mask. And my wife and I, as well as I think representative of a number of people, especially that crowd over 60 years old, aren't going to do it. And so, you're going to get people, 35, 40% of the people who are very, very adamant about, I'm not going to wear a mask because, it's my right not to. Okay, whatever. But at the same time, the other 50% plus of the population are going to stay at home. And that's not good for anyone. So having a common sense, regardless of whether you feel about masks, think about it from a business standpoint. And if you could wear a mask and people are going to be more comfortable
30 seconds
going out,
left.
Thank you. If people are going to be more comfortable going out, then make it so that people are more comfortable going out so that the businesses of Parker, first of all, can survive, and secondly, thrive. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Next up, we've got Shaun Sindelman.
Yes, thank you.
Sure.
Shaun Sindelman, 11300 Whooping Crane Drive, Parker, Colorado. Mayor Wade, members of the Town Council, thank you for your time this evening. There should be no discussion about this. Science and data speaks volumes, and I believe in the governor's decision as well as the decision made by Tri-County Health. However, if we are to discuss anything tonight, it is for the Town Council to ensure that the residents of Parker will make sure that any and all mask orders are enforced in the town limits by its residents and by its businesses. And that this enforcement should come at the forefront by our law enforcement officers, not an 18-year-old working behind the counter of Chipotle. We need to set an example for the young people and teach them that laws do matter and that we can't just pick and choose what we enforce depending on which way the wind blows. And especially that law enforcement is still a thing in this country versus police officers putting their responsibility on businesses to kick the trespassers out without any backup support. So if there's any hesitation in any of your minds about how Parker is going to work with these mask mandates, allow me to paint some pictures for you on what a decision to remain compliant would look like. All businesses in Parker get to stay open without some owners having to bully people over personal mask requirements while others do not. People get to go to work and provide for their families. Children get to go to school. We can make this moment what we want, and we have an opportunity as a town to make a difference. As Councilor Toborg said, Colorado and Parker specifically shut down for months in order to flatten the curve and give local hospitals time to build up their PPE. And if we don't wear masks to stop the spread of COVID, then it will have been for nothing. This virus is not going anywhere. Hospitals are continuing to see a lot of patients who don't have flu-like symptoms, and even some who end up with permanent damage. 5 months later, and we still don't even know the long-term effects of this pandemic yet. If a mask saves just one life, wasn't it worth it? With lack of compliance to a mandate in Parker, any one of your family members could be near a person with COVID that has no mask on. That family member could get COVID and die from the maskless person. So I ask this of you, Councilor Toborg, which member of your family are you willing to sacrifice? All because this council chose to not be compliant with a mandate on the wearing of masks in the town of Parker. This is not red or blue. It's about data. It's not about opinions. It's about that one family member you're okay with killing. I hope my words make you pause and think about the long-term effects your decision tonight will have on the people of Parker. Again, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you very much. Next up is Laura Hefta.
Hello, Town Council members and Mayor Wade, and good evening. I am Laura Hefta, and I am residing at 18236 Shadberry Lane, Parker, Colorado, 80134. And I would just like to state that I am a licensed attorney in the state of Colorado and have been for 25 years, or actually 26 now. with the original license in Illinois and licensed in Colorado since 2001. And I am a legal advisor to our church in Epiphany Lutheran Church. I actually attend Epiphany Lutheran Church in Castle Rock, and I do attend Southeast here in Crossroads as well in Parker. And so I work very closely with our our pastor on legal issues. So I am looking at Executive Order D Delta 2020-138, dated July 16th, 2020. And I'm looking at page 3 of 4. And I was hoping that the town council members would have that before them. And I'm sure that the town attorney does, so that's good. So my question, and I'll put this broadly, is, if you go to a Lutheran church or a Catholic church, the average age of people going to church in some of these smaller churches and some of the largers is over 50. And in our church in Castle Rock, we have a lot of folks that are over 60. And I'm specifically going to reference the medical exemption on L in the order. It says the following individuals are exempt from the requirements of this executive order. And that would be individuals 10 years old and younger, and individuals who cannot medically tolerate a face covering. And so I do have a question for the town council or the town attorney to consider. And again, this is based on my witnessing of going to church, and voluntarily we are seeing people that are not wearing a mask. And many of the people that are not wearing a mask may not be able to actually medically tolerate wearing a face covering because they can't breathe that well.
30 seconds,
they have,
Laura.
Sinus issues, deviated septum, etc. So my question is it possible for the town council to get more guidance from the governor on this exemption of the medical exceptions? Do the businesses just have the ability to deny entry based on a mask or no mask? Should people actually get a medical certificate saying they can't wear a mask? And have you heard of any cases of people presenting this medical exemption to Parker establishments?
Laura, your time
for
is
not
up, so go ahead and
wearing a
wrap up your
mask?
sentence there.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, next up we have, I thought we had someone else, but did they drop off? Danette, do you see, I don't see any hands.
It was Fritz Freund.
Okay, but,
Had a hand up.
hand just went back up. So, Fritz, the floor is yours. Oh, did the hand go back down? Oh, wait, there we go.
There we go. Hi, I just wanted to voice my opinion on the mask mandate.
Sure, if you could state your name and address for the record, please, Fritz.
Yes, sorry about that. Fritz Freund, 11180 Tamaron Drive, Parker 80138.
Perfect, thank you. Go right ahead.
My opinion on the mask mandate comes from not wanting to add additional legislation and force people into a position that they shouldn't be in. Force police officers into a position they shouldn't be in as well. The mask mandate, I don't believe, is constitutional. However, I believe that businesses, if they believe in it, should definitely mandate it in their establishments on private property. In public, I don't believe that it's a constitutional mandate. And just wanted to leave you with that. I'll cut myself short there to keep things moving along.
All right, thank you very much, Fritz. Appreciate it. All right, I don't see any other hands up on the Zoom meeting. Danette, is that confirmation from you too that there's no other hands up? That's correct. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment at 7:52 p.m. There was one question asked, and it was, by Ms. Hefta, can the town get more guidance from the governor? Laura, I will tell you from a personal standpoint, I'm on a weekly call with other mayors in the area, and I don't mean this to sound negative or flippant or cavalier or anything like that, but for the last 4 months, as mayors, have been trying to get more guidance and explanation from the governor on just about everything that has come down. And I know from my standpoint, and I'll let staff add to it if they have anything to add to it, we've been exceedingly unsuccessful of getting clarification on pretty much everything. Staff, is there any of you that say that that's different, that you've had wonderful success of getting clarification from the governor on items?
We do know that the Colorado Department of Health and Environment has issued some guidance on this executive order. At least the last time I checked, there was no guidance on this particular point as far as what constitutes a medical issue associated with the tolerance of a face covering. So that certainly something we'll continue to look at.
And correct me, Jim, if you've seen anything different, because the issue has come up for a while since the beginning when we had full quarantine lockdown, is there an official document? Is there a card that you have to carry? All of that. Every time I've asked that question above, I've been told, no, there is nothing official issued that someone needs to carry. It's on a what would you call it, a self-declaration. You would just say, I have a medical issue. Have you guys seen anything different than that? The two attorneys in the room are shaking their heads no, and our town administrator is shaking her head no. Even Tom Barr, our video guy, is shaking his head no. He's not shaking his head no. But okay, so in terms of answering that question, since that was the only question that was there. All right, so council, with that, the item you have in front of you, resolution number 20-033, I would entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
So,
all right, we got this.
I have comments.
All right, so
around.
let's
go around again.
go around again. All right, so we'll start. Josh, go ahead.
I just want to restate, and just from the first public comment testimony, we are under a mandate. We are under mandate with policy from the governor of Colorado. The entire state is under a mandate. We are not going mask-free. We are simply, in my opinion, opting out of bad dynamic policy from Tri-County Health. But we are covered under the governor as far as the mask mandate goes. So I don't want you guys to think out there, please, and we're going to have plenty of communication about this, but we are not opting out of masks. We are opting out of Tri-County's mask mandate.
Okay. Cheryl, did you have anything else to add?
No, I agree 100% with that.
Okay. Jeff?
Yeah, I just want to say, I like Councilman Rivera stated, I've read all the letters, the emails, I've tried to respond to as many as I can, but I just want to say, I take umbrage with somebody telling me, based on policy, if I would be willing to choose one of my family members to succumb to COVID. I think that's disgusting. I won't sit silent for it. And I think that we all could do better to up the communication and the rhetoric on this and not to insult each other's families.
Here.
Renee, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I'm sorry we're faced with such a controversial issue, and I guess like Mike Wade says, wash our hands.
Thank you. Debbie?
No additions.
John?
Yeah, just again, thank you to everybody who emailed in. Thank you for the comments. Again, very, very polarizing discussion, very polarizing thoughts. I'm a data guy, so there's a whole lot of data out there, and I was trying to figure out how to align it and tie it to what are we trying to achieve, which again was indicated to reduce the healthcare demands. It's just a very challenging thing, but to me, the state order kind of created a refocusing of what's the question. And the question is, do we want to be in Tri-County's order, or by opting out of that, and again, I don't want to say opt-in. I think Councilmember Tolberg was very correct. I was using that as an analogy. If we opt out of Tri-County's order, we have the state order. So no matter what, we have a mask mandate, and there's nothing that we can do sitting up here to change that. There is nothing that Douglas County can do to change that. There's nothing that anybody can do other than our governor. So the question before us is, do we want to be in Tri-County? And if not, we are going to be covered by the state order. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much for input. Before I call for a motion, I would like to do something that I haven't done in 12 years of elected office, 8 years of being mayor. I sit up here as someone who has had my life threatened, my family's life threatened, my children's life threatened. I've had my house put with a big circle with a red X on it out for public display. I want to be really clear on something. Every person out there has the right to their God-given opinion, but the moment you threaten anyone up here or the family or ask something as asinine and ridiculous as one of us to choose which member, your point just went out the window. So I'm sorry, and I don't do this, and you guys know it. I have never editorialized before calling a vote. That is disgusting, wrong, and I hope you never, ever consider doing something like that again. I'm not chastising you. I'm just telling you that that's wrong and disgusting. So I'm off my horse. I would like to entertain a motion, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve Resolution 20-033.
Could I add with the changes?
With the modifications.
Read into the record by Kristen Hoffman?
Yes.
Second.
We have a motion by Jeff, and we have a second by Josh. Council, please vote.
What's the problem? No.
Jeff, you're not? I'll just do a voice vote.
I got it.
You got it in now?
Does it come up? Mine doesn't.
Okay. Josh?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Jeff?
Absolutely aye.
Renee?
Aye.
Debbie? Aye. John? Yes. Motion passes unanimously. Council, I apologize for... I apologize
Mr. Mayor,
for
I just
me
want to say
stepping
thank
out
you.
of that.
I want to say thank you for speaking from your heart on behalf of all of us. And everyone up here has got the crap beat out of them on something or other. So I appreciate that from me individually.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next item. Item number 8, these are ordinances. First one is 8A. This is ordinance number 1.543 on second reading. This is a bill for an ordinance approving the well site easement agreement, DD4, by the town of Parker and the Cottonwood Water and Sanitation District concerning a portion of Tract C, Cottonwood subdivision, filing number 8. And who's going to be I don't even know where to look for who's going to be our presenter right now. Oh, he snuck in on the corner there. I know. Did you see what I was doing, Tom? I was looking up here at the monitor. I'm like, who's going to be talking? Oh, you lost the spit guard on it. All right.
The mouse, this cover jumped off.
All right.
Anyway, good evening, Mayor and Town Council. I'm Town Project Manager Tom Gill. And slide 1. This is for a dedication of a well, as you said. This item proposes to dedicate a well site easement to the Cottonwood Water and Sanitation District, also known as CWSD, over a town-owned property, a portion, Tract C, Cottonwood subdivision, filing number 8. Then a little background here. The Cottonwood Trailhead maintenance responsibility had never been codified in an agreement. It was kind of mysterious. We didn't know why. To alleviate this issue, the Cottonwood Metropolitan District, CMD, and the town of Parker entered into an intergovernmental agreement, IGA, in April of 2020. And it was also discovered that the Cottonwood Water and Sanitation District, also known as CWSD, did not have an easement for the well site, the well building, the related infrastructure that was constructed in the trailhead property in the 1980s. So staff felt it would be most efficient to first transfer the property, sorry for the feedback on this thing, to the town, and then execute the dedication of the easement to CWSD for the well improvements. This agreement dedicates the necessary easements to CWSD for the proper maintenance and operations of their facilities. Next slide. And this slide just shows the easement location. Let's see. So, second, sorry. This proposed easement area is located approximately 950 feet east of the Cottonwood Drive and Apache Plume Drive intersection and just west of Cherry Creek. It's kind of hard to see. Sorry about that. Slide 5. And then this shows easement details, which is equally hard to see. Sorry about that. This easement is proposed to be dedicated as part of the ongoing cooperation between the town and Cottonwood Water and Sanitation District without financial considerations. In other words, it's no cost to the town. And short summary, an ordinance is required to approve this easement conveyance. Cottonwood Water and Sanitation District approved this easement back in June, and that's pretty much it. Are there any questions?
Council, any questions? Josh?
Mr. Gill, do you know, is this in any way going to slow down our widening or bridge? I'm getting a head shake from Mr. Hudson in the background.
No.
And then with the property dedication or the assumption of the park, is this going to hinder that in any way? No. Thank you very much.
That was easy.
Yeah.
Council, other questions? Renee, just shake your head if you have a question. No? Okay. We're going to go ahead and open it up for public comment. Danette, can we switch back to the Zoom list there we go, where I can see the attendees? All right. We're going to go ahead and open it up for public comment at 8:05 p.m. Same rules as before, 3-minute time limit. If you're here to address council on this item, please use your raise your hand feature. Okay, I'm not seeing any. Going once, going twice. Close public comment at 8:05 p.m. and I would entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
I move to approve ordinance.
Oh, did you have a discussion?
No, I was going to move.
Okay. Do you want to defer?
Okay.
Cheryl, go ahead.
All right, I'll move to approve ordinance number 1.543 on second reading.
Second.
We have a motion from Cheryl and we have a second from John. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item on our agenda is item 8B. This is ordinance number 9.319 on second reading. This is a bill for an ordinance approving the intergovernmental agreement between the Douglas County Clerk and Recorder and the Town of Parker regarding the conduct and administration of the November 3rd, 2020 coordinated election. Kristen, you will lead us on this presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. In February, the Town Council passed resolution number 20-007 in order to participate in the November 3rd, 2020 coordinated election, which is coordinated pursuant to the Uniform Election Code. Under the Uniform Election Code, the town and Douglas County are required to enter into an intergovernmental agreement to conduct the election. The town and Douglas County will enter into the 2020 IGA, which is attached to the ordinance in a substantially similar form to that which is attached.
Okay. Council, any questions? None? Okay, I'm going to open it up for public comment at 8:07 p.m. if there's anyone out there wishing to address council on this item. Seeing no hands raised online, we're going to close public comment at 8:07 and I'd entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
I do have.
Oh, you do have a, go ahead.
Yeah, I would just notice that this coordinated election will run about $60,000. If we had to run something like this on our own, what would the cost be? I know, but I was wondering what the
For
estimate
those
was.
at home, our town clerk, Carol Baumgartner, who, just for point of reference, is employee number 1 of the town, who's been here longer than anyone else, and who is one of the signers, I believe, on our original charter documents.
She's a founding mother.
She's a founding mother. Her answer to how much will it cost? A lot more. That's it.
I just wanted to make that point known.
Yes.
Yes, and truthfully, a heck of a lot more if it was just done us independently. So, other questions or no?
I move to approve ordinance number 9.319 on second reading, please.
Second.
We have a motion from Josh and a second from Debbie. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. With no further business before council, we will adjourn at 8:08 p.m. Please go wash your hands, everybody, and please treat each other a little bit nicer.